Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our LHC Reach Out webinar. My name is Josie Gaitan, and I work for Reach Out, a nonprofit organization here in the Inland Empire. I would like to say thank you to everybody for attending. Our webinar today is going to be in English. If you need translation, I'm just going to say it in Spanish, so if there's anybody in Spanish speakers. Si necesitan traducción, nuestro webinar va a ser en inglés hoy, pero pueden llamar al número 978-99-0-5180 y le necesita el número 3126-6220. Bienvenidas a todos. And today we are going to be talking two different speakers that came, our guest speakers, and we're going to be talking about the Inland Country Legal Services. Is a nonprofit organization providing legal services to low-income persons, residents in Riverside and San Bernardino counties. And then we are having our second speaker, well, our first speaker, sorry, we're going to change it around. It's going to be providing high-quality recreational opportunities for all people to enjoy while preserving places in natural beauty and important cultural heritage. Learning about new exciting new programs and projects that are coming up in progress for Riverside County Regional Parks and Open Space Districts. And today we are going to have Jenny McCoy, Contract and Grant Analysis from Parks, joining us. And now I will give Jenny the floor so you can tell us about all the exciting things that that are coming up in our parks. Jenny?
Thank you, Josie. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today and talk with you all. As Josie mentioned, I'm the grants analyst for the Riverside County Regional Park and Open Space District. We manage the larger parks throughout the county, including in Jurupa Valley, we manage Rancho Jurupa Regional Park, and that is actually the park that I'm here to talk with you all about today. The Park District is currently seeking grant funding from the statewide park program through the California Department of Parks and Recreation. They have funding available for new and improved recreation opportunities, particularly focused in underserved communities. So we want to make sure that we take advantage of that and make some improvements to the park for the betterment of the community. And we wanted to get community input and see what individuals that live in and around Rancho Jurupa Park, what you would like to see at your park. So I just wanted to speak with you all today and give you the opportunity to provide input. And then also we have a web survey up if you would like to share your thoughts via the web survey. I have a link for that I had sent to Josie, or we can talk about it today. And I think that's about it, short and sweet.
Thank you, Jenny. And we'll put the website at the end of the, or if you guys need it, you guys can call me or email me and I will send it to you. Anybody that's listening and would like to share their opinions, just let me know. And we will go ahead and send you the survey, sorry. And so any questions or anything you have, you can always email me and talk to me or call me, and I will get in touch with Jenny, and then we can always call you back and if you have any questions. Jenny,
yeah, and
go ahead, Jenny.
They're welcome to email me directly as well. My email is jmmcleod. It's spelled a little funny, so jmmcleod@rivco.org. Any questions or comments that you might have as it pertains to this park and this project, please feel free to email me directly.
Okay, thank you, Jenny. Thank you for all that information, and we're hoping that we are going to get a lot of the surveys back so we could have a lot of different topics that are going to come out and get whatever the community needs for the park or wants for the park.
Yeah, and maybe just to share a little bit of the feedback that we received so far, we've had campers and people who are coming in and using the park during the day have been able to provide some feedback so far. And some of the things that we're looking at doing there are some outdoor exercise stations, doing some improvements to the trails around the park to really enable people to get outdoors and improve their physical fitness.
Oh, that sounds fun. It's fun. A lot of good suggestions. Well, thank you, Jenny. And I know you're going to have to leave us, but if anybody has questions, they're always welcome to call me or email me, and then we'll get them to you. And we'll put your email at the end of the survey.
I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you very much. And then our guest speaker, our second guest speaker is Daryl Moore, Executive Director of Inland Cities Legal Services, Riverside and San Bernardino County. So Daryl, the floor is all yours. Thank you for attending and thank you for coming and giving us information.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. And although I did want to make a comment on Jenny's remarks, I noticed that when she started talking about physical fitness, that she was looking me right in the camera as to say, Daryl, you need to be more involved out there, buddy. But yeah, I won't take it so personally. I'm Daryl Moore.
Have you gone to the park there?
I go to the parks. I haven't been to the park that she was describing, but I've been to the parks.
Okay. Well, I love that park. That's one of my favorite parks here in Jurupa Valley.
No, get out to your parks. That sounds like a great idea. I'm Daryl Moore. I'm the Executive Director at Inland County's Legal Services. And we do provide legal service to those who are eligible for our services throughout the entire Riverside and San Bernardino County neighborhoods, communities, counties. You know, it's funny, Riverside and San Bernardino County, Inland Empire, we get used to being characterized sort of as the short tail relatives of our more glamorous neighbors, Los Angeles, Orange, and San Diego counties. But Inland Empire, wow. Our population is equivalent to that of the state of Oregon. And Oregon, if you don't know, is right about the 25th most populated state in the country. So just Riverside and San Bernardino counties are larger population-wise than half the states. And it's my job to oversee Inland County's legal services. And what do we try and do? We're a poverty law firm. We try and provide free legal service to those who are eligible in that entire immense area. We're principally funded by the federal government through what's called the Legal Services Corporation. We are funded also by the state of California, both by the governor, which is called the Equal Access Fund, and by the state bar through what's called IOLTA, Interest on Lawyers' Trust Accounts. We also receive money from both Riverside and San Bernardino counties by way of T3 funding, Older Americans Act, and then we have maybe 15 or 20 significant, important, but smaller funders. We're very, very happy to be getting the funding that we get to do the work that we do. Some challenges, you know, all of those funders, all of those people, organizations, politicians, taxpayers who provide us that money, provide it to us with some guidelines on how it is that we're supposed to go about the work that we do. And so one of the biggest guidelines that we deal with is that we have to ensure that people who apply for services with us are eligible for services. Now, as I've just indicated, we probably have close to 25 different organizations that all that provide us funding. They all have their own rules. And so that's just determining if somebody is eligible for services is, it takes some expertise, quite frankly, on our part. And we have part of our organization, we have what we call our intake team. And our intake team, you can get a hold of them by phone, email, you can do online applications. But their job is to ask you a series of personal questions about your economics, your citizenship status, your assets. And after they ask you all these personal questions, they put all that information into our database, and that will help us determine which of those many funding sources that we receive money from, which of those you may be eligible for. And so I know it's not everyone's happiest day when they get to answer a lot of personal questions to somebody they don't know, but that is part of our process. And then once you are determined to be eligible for services with inland counties, well, what kind of legal work can we do for you? Sometimes it's a little bit easier to say what we don't do. Again, the money comes to us with strings attached. Nobody from my program should be asking you for money, with two possible exceptions, once you've been determined to be eligible. Well, some of our funders make sure that we ask that you understand the services we are providing. We're providing to you at no cost to you. And if you can, we would like you to give a donation. There's no obligation to provide a donation, but that is one circumstance in which my staff may be asking you about money, but under no circumstances is this a requirement or something you have to do. The other time that we may have to have a serious conversation with you about the money to fund whatever legal work it is we're going to do with you is, while I can hire staff to provide the services to you, we don't necessarily always have additional funds to pay for the actual cost of litigation. And cost of litigation can be somewhat significant depending on the case. However, don't let that be a concern. We have many ways to get funding if you don't have funding. We can ask for waivers of most fees. There are some costs that we simply can't get around, and then we can talk to you about those if it's needed. So we provide free legal service. We've been doing this since 1958, and starting in Riverside City, expanding to Riverside County, and then expanding to San Bernardino County. So we've been around for 60 years. Once you're determined to be eligible, we talk to you about all the things that we would expect from you as a client. Well, what can you expect from us as attorneys? What we don't do is anything to do with criminal law. We are not the public defender. The public defender is a separate organization similar to the district attorney's office, and they work in the criminal courts. We work over in the civil courts. And we have 100 people, 105 people on staff. That sounds like a lot, but our population is of our service area is what? Larger than 25 states in the country. So 100 staff members, you know, we have to make some tough choices about what kind of work we can do and what kind of cases we can take. The lion's share of what we've been doing for a number of years now, it goes to issues arising out of housing, whether you're involved with an eviction, whether you're involved with foreclosure, many issues regarding mobile home, residency law, mobile home parks, and we have issues with subsidized housing, Section 8, if you will. And so we handle pretty much all of those kinds of issues relative to civil complaints, administrative law, depending upon what is needed. So housing is a big portion of what we do. Now, Inland County's Legal Services, we're a poverty law firm. You have to be eligible for services from my organization. For the most part, that means your income is close to the poverty level, which means you're poor. I'm not supposed to say the word poor, but you are in difficult economic circumstances. You're not poor of character, you're not poor emotionally, it's just you have some economic challenges in front of you. That being the case, another significant area of law that we work with is public benefits. Well, if you're suffering from a lack of income, are there any governmental benefit programs that you might be able to avail yourself of? Whether it's food stamps, general relief, SSI, excuse me, a number of different programs that you may be available for. So right after housing, we do a lot of public benefit work. Then probably third up in terms of the amount of workflow that we do, we're doing a tremendous amount of work, unfortunately, in family law. So that family law work can either be simple divorce, which quite frankly, I don't really have the resources to handle simple divorces. But if you are in a situation where you're living in domestic violence, then those are cases we prioritize. If children are involved, those are cases that we try to prioritize. Again, we have limited resources and there's an incredible demand for family law services, but that's a big part of what we do. We have a very successful consumer law team. Most typically, if you're dealing with consumer law debt, credit card debt, you've been sued for failure to pay on your credit card, we have a team set up that may be able to help you with those issues. That consumer team also can do, we have a grant from the IRS, one of our 25 funders, and that grant, we actually help people deal with tax controversies with the IRS. So if you have a problem with the IRS right now, we have and if you're eligible for services, we have a program that we can probably help you with. The tax program also illustrates another point. I've thrown out there that we deal with poverty law. I've also told you we have like 25 different grants. So some grants have a more lax criteria for determining eligibility. And that tax grant is one of those. So please don't hear me say that we're a poverty law firm and then assume we don't have a grant that we can't help you with. Give us a call. Go through the intake process and let us determine what grants you may be able to avail yourself with. In addition to that consumer team doing credit card debts and doing some tax work, we also have an attorney in that particular department doing some bankruptcy work too. So that's the consumer team. Then we also have a smaller immigration team. Smaller, but they do a lot of good work. And citizenship, it's not that this necessarily makes anybody happy who works here, but the rules of the game are determined by our funders, and we're very happy to get the money. And with respect to citizenship, we have to make a determination as to whether you're a citizen if we are going to determine if you're eligible for services. Let us do that for you. First thing, foremost, lawful permanent residents are the equivalent of citizenship, so we can help you. Lawful permanent resident, no problem. Let's say you have no status and you're in an abusive situation. Well, we have grants that we may be able to help you with, even though you're not a United States citizen. Please don't assume that you are or are not eligible for services from my program based on this introductory presentation. Give us a call. Let us make that determination for you. If you call and we determine that we cannot provide services to you, at a minimum, we will try to get you a referral over to an organization that can help you. I have to look at my cheat sheets here, otherwise I'll leave off people. There is another team. Oh, I wanted to mention, because we have these hot topic items in our pandemic, right? So public benefits, very happy to have our privacy group directing attorney there, who is also developing or has some experience with educational law. Now, we're all living through this pandemic. We all kind of see the, the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, hopefully. And lots of issues arising out of education, right? Kids in need of special education, whatever it may be. So just know that when I mention public benefits, a small component part of that is also trying to provide services to individuals who are, having challenges in the public education, kindergarten through high school typically. And then we have another very complex area, very frustrating area of law, try and understand, but incredibly important. We have an entire team devoted to health law. If you're having problems with Medicare or Medi-Cal, or even private health insurance, although that's lesser of what we do, you need to reach out to us and see if we can help you with that. Again, if we can't help you because your particular question falls outside what our grants allow us to do, then we'll try and get you a referral. And of course, obviously, in our current situation, health law is a big issue. And, health law, it was complicated and complex prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. It hasn't gotten any simpler since that time. So give us a call. And then lastly, we do have a team that does impact work, what we call impact work. So they may file a lawsuit that is designed in a way to have an impact on the entire community. And so we, maybe our most garden variety, stellar example was we, last year, I believe, we wrapped up a case with the county of Riverside, actually, over their funding of and payment to individuals eligible for general relief. And that came through with some great success and had a big impact on our community. We helped thousands of people last year. That's not everybody that needs help, but it is what we were able to do last year. And we're always looking to improve upon our internal systems, be able to broaden our reach, be able to provide services to additional people. Again, not complaining, just a challenge, given the resources that we get and the amount of demand that is out there. There are some things that so the reason I went through this and told you what practice groups I have, we call those areas of law I just described to you as practice groups. That's what we do. That's the kind of work that we can do. If you come to me with another type of legal problem, in addition to not having enough people, I might not have the person that can handle a type of case that you bring to me that falls outside of what I've described. Now, keeping in mind, what I have described in this short presentation is general information. So again, if you have a concern, then give us a call and let us make the determination on a case-by-case basis if you're eligible for services, if your case is the type of case that we can help you with, and take it from there. Again, if it's not, then we'll try and get you to a place that they can provide services to you. Physically, we have 5 offices throughout the 2-county area. That seems to be of little significance at the present time, since I don't have any people working in any of these 5 offices. We are completely working at home. Now, I happen to be here today talking to you from my office, but that's a little bit unusual, to be honest with you. So our offices are not physically open to receive clients. I know phone systems, computer systems, online systems, that can all be a little frustrating from time to time, but please bear with us, hang in there, continue to pound away at trying to get through to us. Our intake team is doing a phenomenal job. They're doing a good job. So if we can get you to hang in there with us, we will make contact with you. And we reach out to all of our community partners, and so they pretty much have all of our contact information too, whether it's fellow nonprofits or if it's 211 in either Riverside or San Bernardino County, or many of the governmental agencies all know who we are. And so if you have inland counties, legal services, ask for us, and you'll eventually track us down. I don't know if I have a lot more information for you. I was hoping I do better if I have questions, but that's inland counties in a nutshell.
Okay. Well, thank you, Daryl. We've got a lot of information. I think we have a couple of questions. They usually put them in chat. So if anybody that's listening and has any questions, you guys can start writing them on the chat. And sometimes they text me and ask me questions. So I do have a couple of questions for you. I guess one of the questions is on the eviction notice, they have a certain amount of time to respond, but all the courts are closed. So where do we respond to?
Great question. I don't think I would agree, generally speaking, the courts are not closed, but it's kind of like what I just said to you. Yeah, I'm open, but you can't come to my office. The courts are open and they are processing eviction cases. So probably the easiest way is to make sure you're reaching out to us and we can try and help you. I'm very happy to say that in Riverside and San Bernardino counties, we have a great housing team. We have a presence in both those courthouses. We have programs where we're there every day helping people. Now, again, is it a big, big challenge because of the present circumstances? Yes, it is. But the courts are open, and the way to give us a call, and I will put you in touch with our housing law attorney, the manager, and she will be able to help you. If not, don't assume the courts are closed. If you can't get help, if you don't want to call us for help, then go to the court. If you're in San Bernardino County, if you're down here, not up in Victorville, then you're probably going to be over in the Fontana court. Make sure you get over to the Fontana court and let them know that you need to file an answer to the unlawful detainer. Now, what your question indicated was that you've been served with a notice, a 3-day notice to pay rent or quit, if I heard that correctly. So that is a preliminary step prior to the filing of a lawsuit. So you have 3 days to file your rent under that notice, but that rent goes to your landlord. So you don't need to go to court for that. You just need to get down to your landlord and pay that rent, if you can. If I understood that question correctly.
Well, let's hope that she'll answer me back.
Okay, and then on the 3-day notice, if you don't pay the rent within 3 days, then what happens is a lawsuit gets filed. Now, when the lawsuit gets filed, it goes by a fancy name, unlawful detainer. That fancy name means eviction lawsuit. And what's going to happen there is that once you're served with that, you have a very short period of time to file an answer, 5 days to file that answer. So you really cannot delay in any way. You've got to get that answer on file. If you get the answer on file, generally speaking, right, you're going to get set for a trial date. That takes about 2 weeks. You're going to go to trial. Assume for a moment, just assume you don't have any defenses to the lawsuit and you lose in your trial. Then you're going to get about 2 weeks to move out. Okay. So now That's just general. There, if you call and we determine you're eligible for services and we can take your case, we're going to ask many questions about the details on that 3-day notice to quit. Right now, what we're seeing is not a lot of 3-day notices to pay rent or quit. We're seeing a different type of 3-day notice, a 3-day notice that says, you know, your conduct is failing to abide by the rules of the apartment complex or wherever you might be living. And so we're not evicting you because you didn't pay your rent. We're evicting you because your conduct is failing to follow the rules. Again, I'm just talking in generalities. I'm not talking about any particular person. When we see those kinds of cases, then we start to ask some questions. Is the landlord what's the landlord doing here? Are they just upset because they didn't get paid their rent? Are they just making up reasons to try and evict you? You know, and then there's a whole long litany of questions to get asked about what comes out of that type of 3-day notice. That type of 3-day notice was, quite frankly, comparatively speaking, rare before the pandemic. But now, because of the pandemic and we have this moratorium imposed on evictions, the moratorium is imposed on evictions for failure to pay rent, not these other types of evictions. And so now we're starting to see landlords rely on those more, whereas before, honestly, we didn't see those very often. So if you're in that situation, please reach out to us. Give us a call.
Okay. She hasn't answered back, but I have another one that says, I got an eviction notice and filled out my papers and went to the courthouse, but I can't find how much do I have to pay to answer my petition?
Okay.
And then she has another question, but I'll tell you that one after. Sorry.
I am speaking in general terms. The reason I keep saying that, I cannot give you legal advice in this setting.
Okay.
Because there's two problems. One, I don't know all the facts, and so I could give you bad legal advice. But two, we don't want to talk about anyone's specific case publicly because that would defeat the attorney-client communication privilege. We would be waiving it. We don't want to do that. But I think you've had, you have enough there for me to make some general comments. And we keep hearing notice. Both questions had, I received a notice. It wasn't necessarily a lawsuit. So let's talk about two different situations. First, the notice. That's usually a single piece of paper, maybe front and back, that's telling you, it comes from the landlord. It could be posted on your door. It could be put in your mailbox. It's kind of informal in a way. And what it should be saying to you is you have failed to pay your rent. And you owe a specific dollar amount of rent. And you have 3 days to pay it. Now, in this last question, what we heard was, I couldn't read this and say how much rent was being claimed to be owed, if I understood correctly. Well, that could be that you're not getting a 3-day notice to pay a rent or quit. What you're getting is a 3-day notice to quit, and then they should be describing conduct that they claim you engaged in that was a violation of the rules. Again, I don't have the notice in front of me. I don't know. Now, the second part of your question, you mentioned specifically the petition. In unlawful detainer world, the lawsuit is called a complaint. It comes with a complaint and a summons. That's the lawsuit gets started. Your job as a tenant is to file a response to that. Most generally speaking, the response we file to that is called an answer to the complaint. And it's true, when you go to file your answer to the complaint, you have to pay a filing fee. Now, we're in Linn County's legal services. Most of the people that we help have incomes at or near the poverty line. If that's the case, there are rules set up at the courthouse where you can apply to have the normal filing fee waived, an application for waiver of court costs and fees. And we do that very routinely, just about for every client that we serve, that we provide service to with respect to eviction cases. So there's like 3 different possible situations going on there, but know that if you are concerned about filing, the cost of filing the answer, you can ask for that to be waived.
Okay. Okay, you don't have any questions, Jesus? No?
Not on my end.
I have one more. She just said, so the courthouses are open? Because they told me they were closed and I could just leave the papers there with them to file some papers.
This is a very vexing problem. You should probably try and give us a call so we can see if we can help you. The courts are open. And what they may say to you is it's open, but you can't come in.
Okay.
And they want people to file either electronically or in some other way, which is difficult to do. If you don't file paperwork with the courthouse every day, then it's new to you. And if it's new to you, it's not going to be easy to do. So that's why I would encourage you, if you could, give us a call. But the courts are open. They may not let you physically go in the courthouse, but they're open.
Okay. And then it says, is there a good number or what telephone number can we call your office?
I figure someone would ask me that. And of course, being the executive director, I have no idea what the phone number is, right? Can you send out, if I send the information to you, can you send it out to everybody?
Yes, we can put it in our website. We usually put it on the website after our webinar. Okay.
And then if you guys are on the website, I just want to check something real quick, make sure I'm telling you the right thing. We have a bunch of different phone numbers and not all the phones are working as well as I would like during our work from home situation. But that said, let me just type away here on something. All right. All right. So if you are on the internet, you can go to inlandlegal.org.
Okay.
Now I will give you a phone number. It's our 888 number. It's 888-245-4257.
Okay.
It's a pretty good website. We're always trying to improve upon it. So let me tell you our website again, www.inlandlegal.org. And that phone number is 888-245-4257. I would just ask everyone to be patient. I think about it. I have a whole intake team, and our intake team was physically located in Ontario. And they have a beautiful workspace there. and they have all their cubicles and all the phones lined up, and worked pretty good. And now we're all working at home. So my intake workers are either sitting in their kitchens or sitting on their couch, trying to deal with all this technology and make things happen. And they're doing good. They're doing good. The system is not working perfectly, but it's working pretty good. So I would just say, please, please, please be patient. I know it's frustrating. I know that.
Okay. And one more question. So do we call the same number if we need as to talk to somebody about legal papers, immigration?
Same number. How it works is everybody, when they call, they go in first to our intake team. And the intake team, they're trained on how to ask you a series of questions. It seems like a lot, I know. They're going to ask you a series of questions to make sure you're eligible for services and all of that. And they understand the different eligibility criteria for the different grants. And then they will send your case to the appropriate legal team that would handle that type of case. But it really, ideally, what we're trying to do is have one number. So everyone calls that number. They get to the intake team. The intake team figures out what they need and gets them to the right person in the program.
Okay. So I guess, let me see what the question. The legal lawyers that you have will help us fill out the papers for citizenship?
Citizenship is my most difficult area to answer questions. Most harshly, I will tell you that the primary funder says we cannot help you unless you're a United States citizen or have lawful permanent resident status. Why then am I encouraging you still to call us? Because we have some exceptions to those rules. And like all exceptions, understanding the exception is more difficult than understanding the rule that it's an exception to. So I don't want to say the wrong thing here and discourage you from giving us a call. They may be able to help you with your paperwork. They may not. If they cannot, because your case is not the kind of case that our funders let us work on, then we will get you a referral to somebody who can do that.
Okay, thank you. Let me see, I have one more. I wanted to ask, I need to know if you guys can help me write a letter of, I don't know what it says, of relatives to put in their application for citizenship. It's like a letter of me supporting them to come to the United States. It just, in the bottom, it says support letter. I don't know what that is.
That's it. Give us a call. That raises another issue. And again, I don't want to discourage people from calling because we're talking very generally. But so call. But legally, who is the person in need of assistance? We would have to speak to that person directly. We have to determine that that person is eligible. So it sounds like that the person you want to have helped is living in a different country right now, and they would not be able to apply directly for services. We, generally speaking, cannot help people unless we speak to the person and meet, in normal circumstances, meet with the person who is actually in need of the legal help. I understand you're saying you want assistance for a declaration to help this other person. That would be something that we don't typically do, but please I say this somewhat jokingly. I'm the executive director. I have 4 deputies that report to me. A chief financial officer, a deputy director of litigation, a deputy director of operations, a deputy director of community engagement. Below that, I have a practicing group for managing attorneys. I say this very, very humbly. Every one of those people that I just described are experts in what they do. And they are far, far better able to answer these questions than I am. So that's why I love coming to these presentations, but you will hear me say for maybe the 40th time in this half an hour that I spoke to you, call and let us go through the process to make those determinations. Because I have people on staff who are much, much better at making these determinations than I am.
Okay. I don't think I have any more questions. You didn't get any questions, Jesus?
No, I didn't.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you very much, Daryl. This was very good information.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate for you to take your time and come and talk to us and give us more information. I would like to thank all our guests that are attending today and listening to us. But if you guys have any more questions or you have anything that you guys want to know, you can always go to our website, or you can always email me or call me, and I will get you the phone number and the website that Dario gave us. So thank you very much. Next week, we will have Dr. Shapiro, Iran Shapiro. He will be providing information on why it's important for us to get the shot and what's going on with COVID-19. So it's going to be a very, very good webinar. And we have some other speakers that are going to come and talk to us. So I welcome everybody to come and join us next week at the same time, Thursday at 12 noon. And Daryl, I just wanted to say thank you again for coming and giving us all that information and the phone number, the the website, sorry, and just coming and taking time to come and talk to us.
Let me extend my appreciation. Thank you very much for having me, and we'd be happy to come back anytime. I can bring back the experts next time, and they can answer questions maybe in more detail.
Yes, whenever you like, we'll call you back and bring you back so you guys can bring us more information of what's going on. Thank you very much. And we're ending our webinar a little bit early, but I wanted to say thank you to everybody that just is here listening to us and are always coming to hear what we have. Our guest speakers, our wonderful guest speakers. Next week is going to be a great week too, with Dr. Shapiro bringing us the information that is going on with COVID and everything we have to know about it, how it's going, where it's at, and how long more do we think we're going to be doing all this working at home. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a very, very good weekend, and we'll see you next Thursday. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.